streaming live.
That you've got it, but you're not reading. Chairman, would you like to start the meeting?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the annual council meeting this Wednesday, the 5th of May, 2021. Can I ask Father Saba if he would open the meeting with a prayer, please?
Okay. Thank you, Anne. The first, I'm going to say 2 sets of prayers. The first one will be for the repose of the soul of PCSO Julia James, who was killed tragically almost 10 days ago. And then the second one in thanksgiving for how God led us all through this year, especially you, as you led the community up to now. Almighty God and Father, it is our certain faith that your Son, who died on the cross, was raised from the dead, the first fruit of all who have fallen asleep. Grant that through our prayers, your servant, Julia James, who has gone to her rest in Christ, may share in the joy of his resurrection. Almighty Father, you are lavish in bestowing all your gifts, and we give you thanks for the favors you have given to us throughout this year. In your goodness, you have favored us and kept us safe in the past. We ask that you continue to protect us and to shelter us in the shadow of your wings as we continue to serve the community you have given us. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Father Alex.
You are welcome.
Right, I'm just going to read out the start of the virtual meeting. Good evening and welcome to this extraordinary meeting of the Council. Please note, this meeting is being streamed live to the internet. However, the archived recording will not be available to view until Friday, the 7th of May, 2021. Members are also asked to be mindful of the forthcoming election and are reminded not to use this meeting to make any political statements relating to the forthcoming election. Please could all members ensure their microphone is set to mute unless they are speaking to reduce any background noise. It is important to remember that you may only speak when called by the chairman. Also, ensure any other devices nearby are switched to silent mode as they can be distracting. Members should use the raised hand button when they wish to speak. When it's your turn to speak, I will call your name and invite you to speak. Once you have spoken, I will flatten your hand. If during the vote there are technical problems, the committee services officer will contact the relevant member so that they are able to give their vote over the phone, which will be on the loudspeaker so that other members can hear. If any member loses connection during this meeting, then the meeting will be paused for a period of up to 3 minutes in order to give the relevant member the opportunity to rejoin the meeting. It is recommended to councillors that should they struggle to rejoin the meeting online, that they rejoin the meeting via the telephone number given in order to assist with the smooth commencement of the meeting. Thank you. Are there any apologies for absence, please?
Thank you, Chairman. There are no apologies received this evening. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Well, welcome members to this annual general meeting of the council. I just want to give a valedictory address, and I thank the chaplain and advisors as well. Well, where did the last 2 years go as my chairmanship for the Folkestone and Hythe District Council? It has certainly been a journey of which I was extremely proud to undertake and to promote the district where and whenever I could. We did not have an AGM during 2019-2020, so throughout the extraordinary meetings of the council, I kept you informed as to what I had been busy doing during those months. So I see no need to reiterate them again today. What I will mention is that we had planned to arrange a meal for councillors at the Western Hanger Castle, now attached to Otterpool, which would have given councillors a chance to learn more of the history of the castle and how it fits in so well with the proposed new town. The other councillor invitation we were proposing was a safari trip to Port Lympne, which would have been a fantastic trip out. Unfortunately, these had to be cancelled because of COVID-19 pandemic, which started in March 2020 and caused a massive close down of businesses and hospitality venues of every kind. Working from home became the only way forward. The past year, an unprecedented year on lockdown, this council has continued to run its business as usual. But with the additional workload of dealing with COVID-19, it has allowed council-owned venues to be used by the National Health Service for COVID testing and vaccinations, which has proved highly successful for the local area. The hubs have been highly successful too, with good teams of volunteers. I cannot praise our officers and staff enough for all they have done to keep us on task and up to date with all information in these most difficult of days. It would be remiss of me not to mention our councillors who have also worked tirelessly to help with the most vulnerable of the district. I want to take time here to thank the emergency services, fire, police, ambulances, and the National Health Service for their protection during this difficult time. And as Father Saba quoted, we also remember PCSO Julia James, who lost her life so tragically a week ago yesterday. Now it remains for me to thank my Deputy Councillor Philip Martin for his support throughout the last 2 years, Sue Lewis and Kate Clark for all their administration and good counsel, to Dave Turner, always the gentleman, who drove us safely to and from venues. And of course, Father Alex Saba for consenting to say prayers at full council meetings. I have sent a thank you gift to all and each one of them as a vote of thanks for all they have done for me during the past 2 years. Thank you very much. I call now for nominations for chairman for the next municipal year. We need proposers and seconders and to give speeches in support, please. So can we have a proposer?
I would like to propose, Madam Chairman.
Councillor David Wimble proposes.
I would like to propose Philip Martin, and if you may, I'd like to say a few words which will represent him.
Okay, have you a seconder?
Very happy to second, Chairman, and I reserve my right to speak.
Thank you very much. Are there any other nominations? No? Thank you. Then Councillor Wimble, would you like to say something?
Yes, I'd be privileged to say something about Philip. I've known him personally for 1.5 terms I've served on the council so far, this period and the time before. The one thing that stands out about him to me is he will listen to debates. He's always fair. He's got a good sense of humour, and he's actually got louder jackets than I've got at times as well. But the most important thing is he's fair, he's impartial, and I would say that he's a good judge of character, and you know, is a good person who's got a long history, not just with the district council, but he started off, I think he's done about 30 years on local governance, all in all, starting off at places like Capel, and I think he served on Folkestone and Hawkinge councils, or certainly local councils all that time. But more importantly, it's the other work that he does where he's not a councillor as well. He's been a key member of the local Rotary Club and the Lions clubs and things like that. And I just think he would be an ideal chairman. So I'm very happy to propose him.
Thank you, Councillor Wimble. Councillor Hollingsby?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. Well, Councillor Wimble's taken some of my thunder, but never mind. Philip has been a great friend and colleague of mine for 16 years, and we've served on planning together for that length of time. He was born and bred in this district, and he says that he can think of no better place to live, and he is extremely passionate about the area. He is much involved, as Councillor Wimble said, in charities, and he has been the president of the Lions in the last few years, I think. I remember being invited to his dinner. He spent many years on Capel PC, Parish Council, was chairman, and he has been a Hawkinge councillor for 8 years and is currently the mayor of Hawkinge. I believe he is well qualified to be chairman of the district and will do his best to promote our district. And I'm very happy to second him as chairman.
Thank you very much. As there were no other nominations, do we need to go to the vote on this?
Yes, Chairman.
Right. Can we have a vote then for Councillor Philip Martin as chairman for the district for the ensuing 2 years?
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Mrs Berry.
4.
Councillor Brooke.
4.
Councillor Miss Carey.
4.
Councillor Collier.
4.
Councillor Davison.
Abstain.
Councillor Field.
4.
Councillor Fuller.
Abstain.
Councillor Gain.
4.
Councillor Goddard.
4.
Councillor Godfrey.
4.
Councillor Hills.
4.
Councillor Mrs Hollingsby.
4.
Councillor Keane,
Abstain.
Councillor Quintenius,
Abstain.
Councillor J Martin,
Abstain.
Councillor Philip Martin,
4.
Councillor McConville,
Abstain.
Councillor Mead,
Abstain.
Councillor Mayers,
4.
Councillor Monk,
4.
Councillor Mullard,
4.
Councillor Peel,
4.
Councillor Prater,
Abstain.
Councillor Rolfe,
4.
Councillor Schube,
Abstain.
Councillor Treloar,
Abstain.
Councillor Wade,
Abstain.
Councillor Wybrow,
Abstain.
Councillor Wimble,
4.
Councillor Wing.
Abstain.
I make that 17 for and 13 abstentions, Chairman. So Councillor Martin is elected as Chairman.
Congratulations, Councillor Martin, for the chairmanship for the next 2 years.
Thank you very much indeed.
Congratulations.
To know that mine will be a very short speech. First of all, I would like to thank my proposer and my seconder, who are placing their confidence in me to do what is a very important job. I would say one of the most important ones in the community. I feel very honoured to accept this position. I will be presenting the badges, which I have here. I will personally arrange to present the badges of the past chairman, Councillor Mrs. Anne Berry, and to my consort, who some of you may have met, Mrs. Leslie Hughes. I think that probably you've heard enough about me already. So what I'm anxious to do is to get down to business. Again, thank you for all of those that responded. And I will now sign the declaration. I declare that I, Philip Martin, take that office upon myself, having been elected to the office of chairman, and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment, and ability. Now that our chief executive's signed, it's official.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can we just do the
So,
declarations of interest?
pardon?
The declarations of interest.
Right. Declarations of interest. Are there any councillors with any declarations of interest? Thank you. Right. So the next item on the agenda is the minutes. Now, before.
No.
Pardon?
Election.
Oh, I'm so sorry. You see, I'm trying to rush it already. Want you to get home early. Election of vice chairman of the council. Now, do we have a proposer for election of vice chairman?
Yes, Chairman, I would like to propose someone.
Thank you. And who would you like to propose?
Thank you. I'd like to propose Tony Hill for the position of Vice Chairman.
Thank you. And do you have a seconder?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, happy to second councillor Carey's proposal and reserve my right to speak. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Miss Carey, do you wish to speak on behalf of the proposal for the Vice Chairman, Councillor Tony Hills?
Yes, certainly. Did you wish to ask if there were any other nominations first?
Thank you for reminding me. I will get into the job eventually. Are there any other nominations for Vice Chairman of the Council? No, in that case, Councillor Miss Carey, I would like you to make your speech.
Thank you. And I'm very happy to be the first councillor to speak after you've signed your acceptance of office. So I would very much like to congratulate you on assuming the chairmanship, and I too think you'll do a grand job, Philip. And Councillor Anne Berry has done remarkably well under very trying circumstances with the new council and all the business of the online meetings. It's been quite remarkable, and you take us into a new era. Now you're going to need a good vice chairman for that, and I think we've chosen you somebody who is going to be splendid in that role. Let me tell you a little bit about Tony, because not everyone knows him as well as they should. Tony actually wasn't born on the Marsh. You might forgive yourself for thinking he was, because he is so very much part of Romney Marsh. But he says he fell in love with Romney Marsh when he was a young lad, spending his summers at his grandmother's bungalow on the coast at Greatstone. He was a keen fisherman and used to cycle to Dungeness to go fishing. Over the years, he came to realise how unique Romney Marsh and its environment was. And he spent the last 25 years trying to defend it from flooding. He moved down from Richmond upon Thames to Greatstone over 30 years ago after a career in marketing and design. And nearly 25 years ago, he started a fishing business, Seagull Fishing Tackle at Greatstone, which of course is a great way to meet residents. He's very proud of his community at Romney Marsh, but one thing we know about Tony is he's not blinkered, and he's not just concerned with the people he directly represents. He understands the business of the council is to look after everyone in our district, whether they voted for us or not, whether they voted at all, and to think of future generations, not just the people who are here now. And I know he'll do a grand job, and I'm very proud to nominate my friend and colleague Tony Hills for vice chairmanship. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now I will ask the seconder, if he'd like. Councillor Goddard, would you like to say something on behalf of Councillor Hills?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Obviously, I think Councillor Carey nicked part of my script, but obviously I will say a few words. Obviously, despite being an Arsenal supporter, Tony's an okay chap. And like I say, he's been a colleague of mine for many years out on the Marsh. And again, one of the most important things with Tony is obviously he knows a little bit about flood defences, which obviously I struggle with, so I can push people in that right direction. Obviously, he'll be a good supporter of yours, Philip. Like you've been a good supporter of mine on the planning committee for many years, and you'll be a fine chairman. Tony will be a good asset to your part of your team as well, and to the council. You know, he's done an excellent role supporting Councillor Carey, and like I said, I think he'll be an asset and fully deserved. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Goddard. Do we now go to the vote? We will now go to the vote.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Mrs. Berry.
For.
Councillor Brooke.
For.
Councillor Miss Carey.
For.
Councillor Collier.
For.
Councillor Davison.
Abstain.
Councillor Field.
For.
Councillor Fuller.
Abstain.
Councillor Gain.
For.
Councillor Goddard,
4.
Councillor Godfrey,
4.
Councillor Hills,
4.
Councillor Mrs Hollingsby,
4.
Councillor King,
Abstain.
Councillor Kitenius,
Abstain.
Councillor Jim Martin,
Abstain.
Councillor Philip Martin,
4.
Councillor McConville,
Abstain.
Councillor Mead,
Abstain.
Mayor,
4.
Councillor Monk,
4.
Councillor Mullard,
4.
Councillor Peel,
4.
Councillor Prater,
Abstain.
Councillor Rolfe,
4.
Councillor Schube,
Abstain.
Rolfe,
Abstain.
Councillor Wade,
Abstain.
Wybrow,
Abstain.
Councillor Wimble,
4.
Councillor Wing.
Abstain.
That's 13 for, no against, and 13 abstentions, Chairman. So Councillor Hills elected as Vice Chair.
Thank you very much. Right, congratulations, Councillor Tony Hills. I look forward to working with you, and I'm sure that we'll get on extremely well and carry on doing the best for our district. Now, I've already made one mistake here tonight. I must remember in future to make notes before I make a speech, because I'm sure she will forgive me, but one of the most important people who I overlook thanking is my immediate predecessor, Councillor Mrs. Hanberry. So forgive me for not mentioning that. As I said, that's what happens when you don't make a speech. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because you've been a huge help to me over this last 2 years. I've enjoyed your company, I've enjoyed your friendship, and I really enjoy your cups of tea. So thank you very much indeed for all you've done.
Mr. Chairman, could I just say a few words of thanks?
Yes, certainly. Yes, sorry, I wasn't watching the screen. Sorry, yeah. Still not used to all this Zooming. Please carry on, Councillor Hills. Yeah.
Don't worry, it's a learning curve for all of us.
Yeah,
I would like to take this opportunity to thank my proposer and seconder. I also thank members for their trust. I will support our new chairman, Councillor Philip Martin, to the best of my ability over the forthcoming years. Thank you. That's the formal bit. Shall I do the declaration of office now, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, please.
Okay. Declaration of acceptance of office. I, Anthony Robert John Hills, have been elected to the office of Vice Chairman of Folkestone High District Council. Declare that I will take that office upon myself and will duly and faithfully fulfil the duties of it according to the best of my judgment and ability. I'll sign this now, and I believe in our new world, I will actually post this in. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Hills. We now move on to the minutes. Now, before we discuss the minutes, will members please note that there is an error under minute number 10, which is on page 16 of your packs. The second point under the resolution needs to be removed, as this is not what was agreed at the meeting. So you all have the minutes there. Now, are the minutes agreed?
Agreed.
Agreed.
Thank you.
Councillor Wybrow is trying to speak.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were agreeing. Councillor Wybrow.
I would actually quite like a vote on this, because I don't recall what happened at that meeting, but I am a bit perturbed by the fact that the minutes have been changed since the agenda was sent out. So could we please have a vote?
Okay, let me just do it.
You can just hit record.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Councillor Wybrow. We will make a recorded vote.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Mrs Berry.
4.
Councillor Brooke. Councillor Brooke.
Agreed. 4.
Councillor Miss Carey.
4.
Councillor Collier.
4.
Councillor Davison.
Abstain.
Councillor Field.
4.
Councillor Fuller,
Abstain.
Councillor Gay,
Abstain.
Councillor Goddard,
For.
Councillor Godfrey,
For.
Councillor Hills,
For.
Councillor Mrs Hollingsby,
For.
Councillor King,
Abstain.
Councillor Cutenius,
Abstain.
Councillor Jim Martin,
Abstain.
Councillor Philip Martin,
For.
Councillor McConville,
Abstain.
Councillor Mead,
Abstain.
Councillor Mayers,
For. Agreed.
Councillor Monk,
For.
Councillor Mullard,
For.
Councillor Peel,
For.
Councillor Prater,
For.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, councillor Berry?
Should there be 5 people agreeing to a vote on this?
I have checked that out with the monitoring officer, not on this occasion, but thank you for bringing it up.
Okay, thank you.
Gemma, please continue.
Councillor Rolfe,
For.
Councillor Schube,
Abstain.
Councillor Trelaw,
Abstain.
Councillor Wade,
Abstain.
Councillor Wybrow,
Abstain.
Councillor Wimble,
For.
Councillor Wing.
Abstain.
Make that 17 for and 13 abstentions, Chairman, so the minutes are agreed.
Thank you. The minutes are agreed. So we move on now to item number 6 on your agenda, which is appointments to committees and subcommittees and update to political balance. This report lists the committees and subcommittees of the council. The description of the role and function of each committee member contained in this report is a summary only, and the full definition and description of each is set out in the Constitution. So can I have a proposer for this item?
Chairman, I'd like to propose that we accept the recommendations of report A/21/07.
Thank you, Councillor Monk. Do we have a seconder?
Happy to second, Chairman.
Thank you. Just straight to the vote. Yeah, ask any other proposers.
Would anybody like to speak?
Yeah, would anybody like to speak on this matter? No, I can't see any hands. In that case, we'll go to the vote.
We'll take recommendations 1 and 2.
Yes, recommendations 1 and 2.
Thank you, Chairman. Just to be clear there, we're just doing recommendations 1 and 2 set out in the report.
Yes.
And for the avoidance of doubt, we will then take the recommendation 3 step by step, members. So this vote is for recommendations 1 and 2 of report A/21/07. Thank you, Gemma.
Thank you.
Councillor Mrs Berry,
For.
Councillor Brooke,
For.
Councillor Miss Carey,
For.
Councillor Collier,
For.
Councillor Davison,
For.
Councillor Field,
For.
Councillor Fuller,
For.
Councillor Gay,
For.
Councillor Goddard,
For.
Councillor Godfrey,
For.
Councillor Hills,
For.
Councillor Mrs Hollingsby,
For.
Councillor King,
For.
Councillor Cutenius,
For.
Councillor Jim Martin,
For.
Councillor Philip Martin,
For.
Councillor McConville,
For.
Councillor Mead,
For.
Councillor Mayers,
For.
Councillor Monk,
For.
Councillor Mallard.
For.
Councillor Peel. Councillor Peel.
Are we on 7 or? It's not 7.
For.
Councillor Prater.
For.
Councillor Rolfe.
For.
Is that one we
Councillor Schube.
Oh, right. Okay. That's the next one.
Councillor Trelaw.
Isn't it? Yeah. Okay.
For.
Councillor Wade.
For.
Councillor Whitebrow.
For.
Sorry.
Councillor Wimble.
For.
Councillor Wynne.
For.
That's unanimous, Chairman.
Thank you. That's agreed.
So we now go into the membership of the chairman
Right.
for each committee.
Right. So we are now I'm now going to read out the individual names proposed for chairmanship and vice chairmanship and invite other nominations and then vote on each individual nomination. And they are as follows. For Audit and Governance Committee, Chairman Philip Martin, proposed by Terry Mallard, seconded by Councillor Mrs Berry.
Councillor Martin, can you open up to see if there is a nomination for the Audit and Governance Chair?
Yeah.
Please, and a seconder.
Right.
And
So
then-
that's what we've received. Now, are there any other nominations for the chairmanship of the Audit and Governance Committee?
Councillor Wybrow wants to speak.
Councillor Wybrow.
I'd like to propose Councillor Schube, please.
And do you have a seconder?
Happy to second, Chair.
Thank you.
Are there any other nominations?
Are there any other nominations for this post? Right.
Is there a proposer for Councillor Martin?
Pardon?
We need seconders.
Is there, are there any other candidates? So we've got, sorry members, at the moment.
You're muted.
Sorry, thank you, Councillor Monk. Just to be clear, members, so far for the Audit and Governance Chair, we have a proposal for Councillor Schube, proposed by Councillor Wybrow, seconded by Councillor Trelaw. What we're now asking is, are there any other nominations for the Chairman of Audit and Governance Committee?
Yes. There are, and I believe it is Councillor Mallard was proposing Councillor Martin.
That is correct.
Can I ask, sorry, excuse me, Councillor Martin, can I ask members if there is a proposer for a further chair to Audit and Governance in line with Councillor Monk's suggestion? Is anyone proposing another candidate?
Look, it's, as it's going in, I will propose that Philip Martin be the chairman.
Thank you, Councillor Monk. Do you have a seconder?
You have a seconder.
I will second.
Thank you, Councillor Berry.
Are there any other nominations, councillors? Okay, thank you.
So we have two, is that right? Yeah. Right, so we now move to the vote. Right, we will now move to the vote, councillors. So
You're muted, Councillor Martin.
Pardon?
Do we vote Schube or Martin?
Yes, obviously.
We need to take them in the order they were proposed.
Yes.
Shube first. Yes. Right, we will now take a vote on councillor Shube, and Gemma will take your vote.
I believe councillor Wybrow wants to speak.
Councillor Wybrow, my screen is not very good.
Thank you. Yes, I just wanted to say a few words in support of councillor Schube, really, if that's allowed.
Yes, of course. Carry on.
Yeah, first of all, I just think it's very good practice, as it is with overview and scrutiny, that we have somebody who is not in the administration chairing the audit and governance, because I think audit and governance has become an even more important role. And the other thing is, I think that councillor Schube has been a very good chair of overview and scrutiny over the last couple of years, and I think she would bring those same skills to the audit and governance committee. Thank you.
Thank you. So we're now going to the vote for councillor Schube.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Mrs Berry.
Against.
Councillor Brooke.
Against.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Councillor Brooke, can you repeat? We didn't hear you.
Yep. Against. Did you get that? There's some audio issues here this evening, isn't there?
Miss Carey.
Against.
Councillor Collier.
Against.
Councillor Davison.
For.
Councillor Field.
Against.
Councillor Fuller.
For.
Councillor Gain.
Against.
Councillor Goddard.
Against.
Councillor Godfrey.
Against.
Councillor Hills.
Against.
Councillor Mrs Hollingsby.
Against.
Councillor Key.
For.
Councillor Cutenius.
For.
Councillor Martin. Jim Martin.
For.
Councillor Philip Martin.
Against.
Councillor McConville.
For.
Councillor Mead.
For.
Councillor Mayers.
Against.
Councillor
Anybody wants to speak?
Against. Chairman, we can hear you when you speak.
Councillor Mullard.
Against.
Councillor Peel.
Against.
Councillor Prater.
All.
Councillor Rolfe. Sorry, Councillor Rolfe, can you repeat that, please?
Against.
Thank you. Councillor Shube.
For.
Councillor Trelaw.
For.
Councillor Wade.
For.
Councillor Wybrow.
Or.
Against. Against.
I think we've lost Gemma.
I'm losing hope.
That's 12 in favour and 18 against, so that motion falls.
Can I just say that if the chairman is muted, we don't then hear Gemma. It's a bit awkward. So if the chairman doesn't speak during the roll call, it'll be all right.
Yeah. Thank you, Councillor Mark.
And we didn't hear what Councillor's Wing vote was.
Repeat it then, please, Gemma. So for the purposes of everyone being able to hear the vote, from Councillor Monk said that from Councillor Wing and beyond, no one heard that vote. Please don't touch.
Want to take it again?
Just the last part, please.
So the final vote there was Councillor Wing and he voted against.
I voted for.
They voted for. Yeah.
Oh, apologies. So I make that 13 in favour and 17 against.
Right, now, as that proposal has been lost, would anybody like to speak in support of myself for the job of Chairman of Audit and Governance Committee?
Chairman, I would just say that you've been doing a very good job doing it, and I hope you will continue to do so.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak before we go to the vote? In that case, Gemma, we'll go to the vote.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Mrs Berry.
For.
Councillor Brooke.
For.
Councillor Miss Perry.
For.
Councillor Collier.
For.
Councillor Davison.
Against.
Councillor Field.
For.
Councillor Fuller.
Against.
Councillor Gay.
For.
Councillor Goddard.
For.
Councillor Godfrey.
For.
Councillor Hills.
For.
Councillor Mrs Hollingsby.
For.
Councillor Key.
Against.
Councillor Catenius.
Against.
Councillor Jim Martin.
Against.
Councillor Philip Martin.
For.
Councillor McConville.
Against.
Councillor Mead.
Against.
Councillor Mayers.
For.
Councillor Monk.
For.
Councillor Mullard.
For.
Councillor Peel.
For.
Councillor Prater.
Against.
Councillor Rolfe.
For.
Councillor Schube.
Against.
Councillor Trelaw.
Against.
Councillor Wade.
Against.
Councillor Wybrow.
Against.
Councillor Wimble.
For.
Councillor Wing.
Against. Are there any proposals for the Vice Chairman?
I make that 17 in favour and 13 against. Therefore, Councillor Philip Martin is elected Chairman of ANG.
Thank you very much. We now need to elect a Vice Chairman for the Audit and Governance Committee. Can I take any proposals? Do we have a proposal for Vice Chairman? Thank you. Is that the Councillor? I can't quite see your name. Councillor McConneville, yes.
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I'd like to propose Councillor Davison for Vice Chair of the Audit and Governance Committee.
Do you have a seconder?
I'd like to second.
Are there any more proposals for this post?
Yes, Chairman, I'd like to propose Councillor Mrs Berry.
Thank you, Councillor Monk. Do you have a seconder?
Very happy to second, Chairman.
Thank you very much, Councillor Mrs Hollingsby. Anybody wish to speak? Anybody wish to speak?
Just briefly, if you don't mind, please, Chair. Just to reiterate what was said previously for the Chair. I believe audit and governance should have some involvement that is separated from the administration of the council. Councillor Davison's made a very positive impact on the committee in the year that she has been on there, and I believe that contribution will only be improved, if she has the opportunity to take that role.
Thank you. And does anybody wish to speak in favour of?
Councillor Mead would like to speak.
Pardon?
Councillor Mead would like.
Oh, sorry, Councillor Mead. I'm sorry, this screen is not easy to see. Councillor Mead, do you wish to speak?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'd like to speak in favour of Laura Davison. I do believe that on such an important committee, we should have people that aren't of the majority party to ensure that the scrutiny is done correctly. Laura Davison has proven herself to be a very able councillor in this area, and therefore I would like to second. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody wishing to speak in support of Councillor Mrs. Berry? You're muted, Councillor Monk.
Oh, goodness gracious, got caught out. Yes, as with you as chairman, Councillor Anne Berry is an excellent vice chair, has a wealth of experience, and I fully support her.
Anybody else wishing to speak? In that case, we'll move to the vote. Which one first?
Councillor Davidson.
Councillor Davidson. Right, we'll move to the vote. Well, first of all, we'll be voting for Councillor Davison as Vice Chairman. Thank you, Gemma.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Mrs. Berry.
Against.
Councillor Brooke.
Against.
Councillor Miss Carey.
Against.
Councillor Collier.
Against.
Councillor Davison. Councillor Davison.
For.
Councillor Field.
Against.
Councillor Fuller.
For.
Councillor Gay.
Against.
Councillor Goddard.
Against.
Councillor Godfrey.
Against.
Councillor Hills.
Against.
Councillor Mrs. Hollingsby.
Or against.
Councillor Keane.
For.
Councillor Cutenius.
For.
Councillor J. Martin.
For.
Councillor Philip Martin.
Against.
Councillor McConville.
For.
Councillor Mead.
For.
Councillor Mayers.
Against.
Councillor Monk.
Against.
Councillor Mullard.
Against.
Councillor Field.
Against.
Councillor Prater.
For.
Councillor Ross.
Against.
Councillor Schube.
For.
Councillor Trelaw.
For.
Councillor Wade.
For.
Councillor Wybrow.
For.
Councillor Wimble.
Against.
Councillor Wing.
For.
I make that 13 in favour and 17 against.
Thank you. Therefore, Councillor Mrs. Anne Berry is the vice elected.
No, we have to go to the vote.
Oh, sorry. We have to vote again on that. Yes, I will get it right, I promise you. We're now going to take the vote on to Councillor Mrs. Berry as Vice Chairman of the Audit and Governance Committee. Gemma, over to you.
Councillor Mrs. Berry.
For.
Councillor Brooke.
For.
Mrs. Berry.
For.
For.
Against.
For.
Councillor Fuller.
Against.
Councillor Gay.
For.
Councillor Goddard.
For.
Councillor Godfrey.
For.
Councillor Hills.
For.
Councillor Mrs. Hollingsby.
For.
Councillor Keane.
Against.
Councillor Cutenius.
Against.
Councillor Jim Martin.
Against.
Councillor Philip Martin.
For.
Councillor McConville.
Against.
Councillor Mead.
Against.
Councillor Mayers.
For.
Councillor Monk.
For.
Councillor Mullard.
For.
Councillor Peel.
For.
Councillor Prater.
Against.
Councillor Rolfe.
For.
Councillor Schube.
Against.
Councillor Treloar.
Against.
Councillor Wade.
Against.
Councillor Whitebrow.
Against.
Councillor Wimble.
For.
Councillor Wing.
Against.
I make that 17 in favour and 13 against.
Thank you for that, Gemma. I can now declare that Councillor Mrs Berry has been duly elected as Vice Chairman of the Audit and Governance Committee. We now move on to Planning and Licensing Committee. So I call for a nomination for Chairman of the Planning and Licensing Committee.
Chairman,
Councillor Hollingsby.
I'd like to propose Councillor Goddard as
Thank you. Do you
Chairman
have a
of
seconder?
Planning.
I'm happy to second and reserve my right to speak.
Thank you. I didn't quite hear, Councillor Hollingsby. Did you say you've reserved your right to speak as well?
I'm sure I did.
Yes, yeah, thank you. Are there any more proposals? No, I haven't seen any. No. In that case, is there a hand up here? I can't quite see it from here. Ask them to speak now. Yeah, right. So in the order that they came, Councillor Mrs Hollingsbourne, would you like to speak now?
Yes. Well, Councillor Goddard has proved to be an extremely good chairman of the Planning and Licensing, very fair and able to control the meetings extremely well, particularly some of the controversial matters that we've had, and I really support him as chairman. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, who was your seconder?
It was me.
Sorry, David. Councillor, would you like to speak now?
Yes, I would. I was going to try and propose him, but Mrs Hollingsby beat me to it, which is very similar to when we're in the chamber sometimes.
Yes,
despite the fact that he's a Tottenham supporter, Clive has, in the time that I've been on the council, he was deputy chairman for the first 4 years I was on there, and then in the inter period became chairman. I've got to say, especially times when we have members of the public in the gallery, he controls the meeting very well. He's fair. It's completely non-political, the whole meeting. All of us get on with each other. We all back each other many times. And if there are ever any questions, through the chair, the officers always give us the information we need to hopefully make the right representation. So it's a pleasure to second my good old friend, Tottenham supporting Clive Goddard. All that help.
Thank you, Councillor Wimble. So as there are no other nominations, we need to go to the vote.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Mrs Berry. For. Councillor Brooke.
For.
Councillor Miss Carey.
For.
Councillor Collier.
For.
Councillor Davison.
Abstain.
Councillor Field.
For.
Councillor Fuller.
For.
Councillor Gain.
For.
Councillor Goddard.
For.
Councillor Godfrey.
For. For.
Councillor Hills.
For.
Councillor Mrs Hollingsby.
For.
Councillor Keane.
Abstain.
Councillor Cutenius.
Abstain.
Councillor Jim Martin.
Abstain.
Councillor Philip Martin.
For.
Councillor McConville.
Abstain.
Councillor Mead.
Abstain.
Councillor Mayers.
4.
Councillor Monk,
4.
Councillor Mallard,
4.
Councillor Peel,
4.
Councillor Prater,
Abstain.
Councillor Rolfe, 4. Councillor Schube,
Abstain.
Councillor Trelaw,
Abstain.
Councillor Wade,
Abstain.
Councillor Wybrow,
Abstain.
Councillor Wimble,
4.
Councillor Wing.
Abstain.
I make that 18 in favour and 12 abstentions.
Thank you. I can now confirm that Councillor Clive Goddard is elected as Chairman of the Planning and Licensing Committee. So we now move on to the position of Vice Chairman of the same committee. Do I have a proposal?
Chairman, I propose yourself as the Vice Chairman.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder?
I'll second, Chairman.
Thank you. Are there any more proposals?
Councillor McConnell's got his hand up.
Yes, I would like to propose Councillor Mead for Vice Chair of the Planning Committee.
Thank you.
And I'd like to second.
Your second. Thank you. Councillor Brooke? Are you wishing to speak?
Sorry, my hand's still up. I was going to propose, but David Monk did it. I'm trying to.
Right, okay, that's fine. I'm getting up to date here. That's fine. Thank you. Now, just to speak. Is somebody else's hand up there? I can't see. No. So it's asking if they want to speak, isn't it? Next, yes, right. Okay. Now, do any of the either proposers or seconders wish to speak in favour of who you've voted for, who you've nominated?
I would like to, Mr. Chair.
Please carry on.
The reason I've seconded Jackie Mead is since I went onto the planning committee, she has helped me a lot to find things out that I needed to know in order to make informed decisions. And despite that, she's always on the phone for the people who live within her ward and for her colleagues. She's a very compassionate person about the people who live in Folkestone and about Folkestone, and I think she'd make a wonderful vice chair.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak? Councillor.
Chairman, I speak in support of you. Again, you are an excellent Vice Chairman. Have had to take over a couple of times and have done extremely well. I think you have a track record.
Thank you. Was that Councillor McConnell?
Yeah, thank you, Chairman. Yes, just briefly, obviously to say that Councillor Mead has dedicated the last few years, to really putting everything in to planning and has been a valued member of the committee for the past 2 years. And as we know, planning is apolitical, so I think she would be a fabulous addition to help out with the chairing of the committee. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. So we now move to the vote.
Chairman, may I just had a word of support for yourself. You have been a very able deputy when Councillor Goddard hasn't been available, and apart from your significant contribution to the debates on planning matters, I must mention that you have been a tremendous support in licensing meetings. So I would very much like to see you returned as Vice Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor Collier. In that case, we'll move to the vote. So we are voting first of all for Vice Chairman of the Planning Licensing Committee for Councillor Philip Martin.
Mrs. Berry.
4. Sorry, I didn't hear you, but 4.
Councillor Brooke.
The audio connection is awful, but 4.
Councillor Miss Carey.
4.
Councillor Collier.
4.
Councillor Davison.
Against.
Councillor Field.
For.
Councillor Fuller.
Against.
Councillor Gain.
For.
Councillor Goddard. Councillor Goddard. Okay, so members, I think it seems that Councillor Goddard has lost his connection, so we do need to pause the meeting for a period of up to 3 minutes to allow him.
Yes, we don't seem to be having connection with Councillor Goddard. So
I'm back with you, Gemma.
Okay,
I'm
excellent.
back with you.
Great, thank you.
I'm back
Councillor
with you now.
Do you know what you're voting for, Councillor Goddard?
Are we on Councillor Mead or Councillor Martin?
Councillor Philip Martin.
4.
Thank you. Councillor Godfrey.
4.
Councillor Hills.
4.
Councillor Mrs Hollingsby.
4.
Councillor Keane.
Against.
Councillor Kitenia.
Against.
Councillor Jim Martin.
Against.
Councillor Philip Martin.
4.
Councillor McConville.
Against.
Councillor Mead.
Against.
Councillor Mayers.
4.
Councillor Monk.
4.
Councillor Mullard.
4.
Councillor Peel.
4.
Councillor Prater.
Against.
Councillor Rolfe. 4. Councillor Schube.
Against.
Councillor Trelaw.
Against.
Councillor Wade.
Against.
Councillor Wybrow.
Against.
Councillor Williams. Councillor Wimble. 4. Councillor Wing.
Against.
I make that 17 in favour and 13 against. So if
So
you
let's take a vote on that as well. Thank you. Right. So we now need to vote on
Councillor Mead.
Councillor Mead. And Gemma will record the vote now.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Mrs Berry.
Against.
Councillor Brooke. Councillor Brooke.
Gemma, we've just lost Councillor Clive Goddard again. I think he's obviously having trouble with his connection. I have messaged him, but he's just disappeared again.
Right, members, can we pause the meeting for 3 minutes? Chairman, can we?
Yes, we'll pause the meeting for 3 minutes to enable Councillor Goddard hopefully to reconnect. Thank you, members.
In that time, can somebody in the chamber find the source of that noise interference and kill it?
I second that.
I mean, there were 2 people forward for every job. And instead of just having a roll call and asking each person which bids they support, they have to go all the way through the whole.
Councillors, if you can hear me, I would just ask if you're not speaking, it would be helpful if you mute your microphones. Thank you.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't think I'm missing much, am I? Only just started. Anything else? Sure. Let's have a look.
Councillor Goddard is trying to reconnect on his iPhone.
On a question of curiosity, as the first motion has passed, why are we voting on the second one?
I assume it's because some people will be abstaining, so it needs to be recorded.
We could end up with 2 people for the same post under this system, surely.
Yes, this is insanity.
Sorry,
when you've passed
just to clarify, the MO would like to make a statement about why we are doing this process.
Evening, councillors. It's practice to take the vote for or against or an abstention for each candidate individually. So it is a process that we need to follow. Thank you.
Thank you, Amanda.
So if both councillors get equal numbers of votes for and equal numbers of votes against, do we toss a coin?
Councillor Wade, the MO has advised that the chairman has a casting vote. I hope that clarifies.
Can I ask if we actually have to pause during the vote for the 5 minutes? But if we lose somebody during the vote, can't we wait at the end for the 5 minutes and so we finish the vote? Otherwise, they could come back again and the vote before it gets to them, and they drop out again.
Just to update you, I've just spoken with Councillor Goddard on the telephone, and he is trying to come in again on another piece of equipment. So hopefully he shouldn't be too long.
That doesn't really answer Councillor Monk's point.
Councillor Monk, just to clarify, we did outline this procedure at the start of the meeting. So if we can try to see if Councillor Goddard is joining, I think it looks like he is now. If you can just bear with us for one moment.
I think we have him back.
Thank you, Sue. Councillors, we have Councillor Goddard that has rejoined us. Yeah. So Councillor Martin, would you like to restart the meeting? We were at the point of Gemma doing the roll call. Yes. Gemma, would you like to just reiterate what the vote is about and where we're at, please?
This vote is for the Planning and Licensing Vice Chair for Councillor Mead. We've taken votes from Councillor Mrs. Berry and Brooke.
So we'll now continue with the voting. Thank you, Gemma.
Thank you, Gemma. Councillor Miss Carey.
4. Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't listening properly, was I? I am against Councillor Mead. I am for Councillor Martin.
Councillor Collier.
Against.
Councillor Davison.
For.
Councillor Field.
Against.
Councillor Fuller.
For.
Councillor Gain.
Against.
Councillor Goddard.
Oh, no.
Are you still with us, Councillor Goddard?
Against.
Thank you. Councillor Godfrey.
Against. Yes, against, yes.
Councillor Hills.
Against.
Councillor Mrs. Hollingsby.
Against.
For. Councillor Cutenius.
For.
Councillor Jim Martin.
For.
Councillor Philip Martin.
Against.
Councillor Conor McConville.
For.
Councillor Mead.
For.
Councillor Mayers.
Against.
Councillor Monk.
Against.
Councillor Mallard.
Against.
Councillor Peel.
Against.
Councillor Prater.
For.
Councillor Roll.
Against.
Councillor Schube.
For.
Councillor Trelaw.
For.
Councillor Wade.
For.
Councillor Wybrow.
For.
Councillor Wimble.
Against.
Councillor Wing.
For.
Right, that 13 in favour, 17 against.
Thank you, Gemma. So I can now confirm that I will be the incoming Vice Chairman of the Planning and Licensing Committee. Thank you, councillors. So now we move on to Personnel Committee. I'm looking for nominations for the Chairman of the Personnel Committee. Councillor Mrs. Berry. Oh, I'm having a job to see that. I should have put my distance close. You're muted, Councillor Berry.
Yeah, I'm just unmuted myself, sorry. I would like to nominate Councillor David Monk for this position.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder?
I would like to second that, and I reserve the right to speak.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other nominations? Right, in that case, Councillor Mrs. Berry, would you like to speak in support of your proposal?
Yes, I would. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I recommended Councillor David Monk for this position because he has a multitude of knowledge in this area. He's very experienced. I have worked with him on several occasions on this, and I find it very easy to work with him, and he's very helpful with the knowledge that he has. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councillor Brooke, do you wish to speak?
As a
seconder.
Sorry, yeah. I think everybody already knows David. Councillor Monk, his reputation precedes him, and of course, I just echo everything that Councillor Berry has said. That his experience and knowledge in this area perfectly suits him to be chairman of Personnel. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Brooke. We now move to the vote.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Mrs. Berry.
For.
Councillor Brooke. Sorry, can you repeat that, Councillor Brooke?
For.
Councillor Miss Carey.
For.
Councillor Collier.
For.
Councillor Davidson.
Abstain.
Councillor Field.
For.
Councillor Fuller.
Abstain.
Councillor Gay.
For.
Councillor Goddard.
For.
Councillor Godfrey.
For.
Councillor Hills.
For.
Councillor Mrs. Hollingsworth.
For.
Councillor Keane.
Against.
Councillor Kitenius.
Abstain.
Councillor Jim Martin.
Abstain.
Councillor Philip Martin.
For.
Councillor McConville.
Abstain.
Councillor Mead.
Abstain.
Councillor Mayers.
For.
Councillor Monk.
For.
Councillor Mallard.
For.
Councillor Peel.
For.
Councillor Prater.
Abstain.
Councillor Ross.
For.
Councillor Shue.
Abstain.
Councillor Trelaw.
Abstain.
Councillor Wade.
Abstain.
Councillor Wybrow.
Abstain.
Councillor Wimble.
For.
Councillor Wing.
Abstain.
So I make that 17 for, 1 against and 9 abstentions. So that is carried.
Thank you, Gemma. I can now confirm that Councillor David Monk has been elected Chairman of the Personnel Committee. I'm now looking for nominations for the Vice Chairman of the Personnel Committee. Do we have any nominations?
Councillor McConville.
Councillor McConville?
Thank you, Chairman. Yes, I'd like to nominate Councillor Keane for the role of Vice Chair for Personnel. Thank you.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder?
I'd like to second, please, Chair.
Thank you. Councillor Monk?
I'd like to nominate Councillor Brooke.
Do you have a seconder?
I'd like to second that, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Right, now, would either proposer or seconder like to speak? We'll start with we'll start with Councillor Councillor Keane. Would you like to speak in support of your nomination?
Yes, only to say Councillor Keane has had a lot of experience in her years in this area through her work, and she's made a very valuable, positive contribution to the committee in the 2 years she's been on the committee, and I believe that will only be strengthened further should she be given a chance to take up a vice chair position. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to support of this nomination? Can't see that from here.
Councillor Mead.
Oh, Councillor Mead, sorry. I'm really having a job with this screen. I'm so sorry. Yeah.
That's fine. Thank you, Chair. I'd just like to reiterate what Councillor McConville has said. Councillor Keane has many years of experience within personnel, including consultation negotiation with trade unions, which also affects our staff. She's always very fair and very deliberate and takes everything into consideration when she's making decisions. So I think she would make an absolutely excellent vice chair. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Monk.
Yes, thank you. Well, Councillor Brooke brings, again, a wealth of experience from a varied career that he's had, and he brings a commercial edge to our deliberations.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak in support of the nominations that have been made and seconded?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Regarding Councillor Brooke, what can I say? I think he will be an excellent addition in that position. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we move to the vote. Councillor Keane first. So we are voting, first of all, we're voting on Councillor Keane. Thank you, Gemma.
Thank you. Councillor Mrs. Berry?
Against.
Councillor Brooke?
Against.
Councillor Miss Carey, can you hear me?
No, I didn't hear you. I was waiting to be called. Sorry, I'm against.
Councillor Collier?
Against.
Councillor Davison?
For.
Councillor Field?
Against.
Councillor Fuller?
For.
Councillor Gay?
For.
Councillor Goddard?
Against.
Councillor Godfrey?
Against.
Councillor Hills?
Against.
Councillor Mrs. Hollingsby?
Against.
Councillor Keane?
For.
Councillor Kitanius?
For.
Councillor Jim Martin.
For.
Councillor Philip Martin.
Against?
Councillor McConville.
For.
Councillor Mead.
For.
Councillor Mayers.
Against.
Councillor Monk.
Against.
Councillor Mullard.
Against.
Councillor Peel.
Against.
Councillor Prater.
For.
Councillor Rolfe. Councillor Schube.
For.
Councillor Treloar.
For.
Councillor Wade.
For.
Councillor Wybrow.
For.
Councillor Wimble.
Against.
Councillor Wing.
For.
I make that 14 for and 16 against.
Thank you very much. And in accordance with the procedure already outlined, we shall now be taking a vote on Councillor Danny Brooke for this position as Vice Chairman of the Personnel Committee.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Mrs Berry.
For.
Councillor Brooke.
For.
Councillor Miss Carey.
For.
Councillor Collier.
For.
Councillor Davidson.
Against.
Councillor Field.
For.
Councillor Fuller.
Against.
Councillor Gay.
Against.
Councillor Goddard.
For.
Councillor Godfrey.
For.
Councillor Hills.
For.
Councillor Mrs Hollingsby.
For.
Councillor Keane.
Against.
Councillor Kitenius.
Against.
Councillor Jim Martin.
Against.
Councillor Philip Martin.
For.
Councillor McConville.
Against.
Councillor Mead.
Against.
Councillor Mayers.
For.
Councillor Monk.
For.
Councillor Mullard.
For.
Councillor Peel.
For.
Councillor Prater.
Against.
Councillor Rolfe.
For.
Councillor Schube.
Against.
Councillor Treloar.
Against.
Councillor Wade.
Against.
Councillor Wybrow.
Against.
Councillor Wimble.
For.
Councillor Wing.
Against.
I make that 16 in favour and 14 against.
Thank you. I can now confirm that the Vice Chairman elected for the Personnel Committee is Councillor Danny Brooke. Councillors, we now move on to item number 7 on the agenda, delegation of non-executive functions. Standard report, usual rules of debate, including moving, seconding and voting apply. Can I have a proposer for this report? Thank you, Councillor Monk.
Chairman, I'd like to move report A/21/02 and recommend to the recommendations 1 and 2. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you have a seconder?
Very happy to second, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Do we have any more proposals? Sorry. Yeah. Does either the proposer or the second wish to speak further on this?
Well, only to say that we have to do this at each annual meeting, and this is it.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor Monk. Vote now?
Yes.
Yeah. Right, we're now moving to the vote.
Councillor Wade wishes to speak.
Sorry, Councillor Wade. Again, my screen is not doing not showing up too carefully. Please speak, Councillor Wade.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'll be voting against this. I think the delegation goes far too far, and we've seen abuses of it recently. And I'm afraid that this is not democratically accountable when the officers have far too much power to decide these matters.
Before we go to the vote, is somebody else wishing to speak? Councillor Wybrow.
Thank you. Yes, there's a couple of things in here I'm not sure about, so I will be abstaining. But what I would like to see is that the governance working group will be reconvened so that we can look at delegation in general, not just this, but also how delegated decisions, delegations by cabinet decisions work as well, and how that's reported back to cabinet. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak? Is that right? In that case, we now move to the vote.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Mrs Berry. For. Councillor Brooke.
For.
Berry.
For.
Councillor Collier.
For.
Councillor Davison.
Abstain.
Councillor Field.
For.
Councillor Fuller.
Abstain.
Councillor Gay.
For.
Councillor Goddard.
For.
Councillor Godfrey.
For.
Councillor Hills.
For.
Councillor Mrs Hollingby.
For.
Councillor Keane.
Abstain.
Councillor Cutenius.
Abstain.
Councillor Jim Martin.
Against.
Councillor Philip Martin.
For.
Councillor Conor McConville.
Abstain.
Councillor Mead.
Abstain.
Councillor Mayers.
For.
Councillor Monk.
For.
Councillor Mallard.
For.
Councillor Peel.
For.
Councillor Prater.
Abstain.
Councillor Rolfe.
For.
Councillor Schube.
Abstain.
Councillor Trelaw.
Abstain.
Councillor Wade.
Against.
Councillor Wybrow.
Abstain.
Councillor Wimble.
For.
Councillor Wing.
Abstain.
There's 17 for, 2 against and 11 abstentions.
Thank you, Gemma. I can confirm that's been accepted. So we move on now to item number 8, which is schedule of meetings for 21-22 year. Standard report, usual rules of debate, including moving, seconding and voting apply. Can I have a proposal for this? Councillor Monk.
Certainly. Thank you, Chairman. I move report 8/21/01.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder?
Very happy to second, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other proposals?
Would any councillor like to speak on the matter? Would any councillor like to speak?
Would any councillor like to speak on this subject? No? Councillor Wybrow.
Thank you. Yes, I was a bit disappointed to see that the number of council meetings has been reduced. I don't think that's a good move for democracy, and it's not something that I was consulted on as the group leader, so I will be voting against this.
Thank you. Councillor McConville?
Only just to echo Councillor Wybrow's point. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other councillors wishing to speak before we go to the vote? Oh, Councillor Prater, sorry. I'm just not seeing you on here. Nothing personal.
Going to say not seeing me hurts. Just to echo those comments as well, I think a gap from the 24th of November, the 23rd of February, 3 months without a council meeting is a very long one and unnecessarily so.
Thank you. Right, we're now moving to the vote.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Mrs Berry. Councillor Brooke.
For.
Councillor Miss Carey.
For.
Councillor Collier,
For.
Councillor Davison,
Against.
Councillor Field,
For.
Councillor Fuller,
Against.
Councillor Gane,
For.
Councillor Goddard,
For.
Councillor Godfrey,
For.
Councillor Hills,
For.
Councillor Mrs Hollingsby,
For.
Councillor King,
Against.
Councillor Cutenius,
Against.
Councillor Jim Martin,
Against.
Councillor Philip Martin,
For.
Councillor McConville,
Against.
Councillor Mead,
Against.
Councillor Mayers,
For.
Councillor Monk,
For.
Councillor Mullard,
For.
Councillor Peel,
For.
Councillor Prater,
Against.
Councillor Rolfe, Councillor Schube,
Against.
Councillor Trelaw,
Against.
Councillor Wade,
Against.
Councillor Whitebrown,
Again.
Councillor Wimble,
For.
Councillor Wing.
Against.
That's 17 in favour and 13 against.
Thank you, Gemma. That is approved. We now move on to item 9, which is the annual report on policies and strategies adopted by the Cabinet. Standard report, usual rules of debate, including moving, seconding and voting apply. An addendum has been circulated. Do I have a proposal for this? Thank you, Councillor Monk.
Yes, thank you, Chairman. I move the report A/21/06.
Thank you. Do you have a seconder?
Very happy to second, Chairman.
Thank you very much. Anybody else wishing to propose on this matter? Or anybody wish to speak on this matter before we vote on it? Councillor Wybrow.
Thank you. Can I just have some clarification on recommendation 2? It just says to consider including any of the policies. So what exactly are we voting on here, please?
Yes.
Hello, members. Good evening, members. It's the monitoring officer here. So what you are being asked to consider in recommendation 2 is the policies and strategies that are listed on paragraph 2.1 of your report on page 48. So you are being asked to consider whether you wish to include those policies and strategies in the policy framework.
Chairman, I think the recommendation is giving us a chance to refuse to do so, but why would we? If you actually look at them, this really is, these are what have been adopted and revised during this period, so why wouldn't we put them into our framework?
Thank you. Anybody else wishing to speak?
Councillor McConville.
Councillor McConville?
No, sorry, I just had an itchy head. Apologies.
If there's no one else, we're going to vote.
Right, so we're moving to the vote now then.
Councillor Prater wishes to speak.
I've missed you. I'm sorry for the second time. It's not deliberate. Over to you, Councillor Prater.
Thank you. As I understand it, the recommendations on this report are exactly the same as they were on the report 2 years ago, and we had a clarification of the minutes at the beginning of this meeting, saying that As there was no recommendation 2 under that, then none of those items had been accepted into the policy framework. So either one accepts them intentionally and explicitly, or we're going to end up in the same position at the next meeting. So actually, just to say they will be included, so it needs to be made explicit that they will all be included, or it needs to be made explicit that they won't be. Because
I
last meeting they were.
move implicitly that they are adopted.
That is a much more explicit vote. Thank you. I am happy to second that for clarity.
So is that, so could we vote on that now then?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you for that contribution. Now that we've explained exactly what we're voting for, as Councillor Monk explained, we're now ready to take the vote. Gemma, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Mrs. Berry.
For.
Councillor Brooke.
I think you called me. I'm for.
Councillor Collier.
For.
Councillor Davison.
For.
Councillor Field.
For.
Councillor Fuller.
For.
Councillor Gain.
For.
Councillor Goddard.
For.
Councillor Godfrey.
For.
Councillor Hills.
For.
Councillor Mrs. Hollingsby.
For.
Councillor Key.
For.
Councillor Catenius.
For.
Councillor Jim Martin.
For.
Councillor Philip Martin.
For.
Councillor McConville.
For.
Councillor Mead.
For.
Councillor Mayers.
For.
Councillor Monk.
For.
Councillor Mullard.
For.
Councillor Peel.
For.
Councillor Prater.
For.
Councillor Rolfe.
For.
Councillor Schube.
For.
Councillor Trelaw.
For.
Councillor Wade.
For.
Councillor Wybrow.
For.
Councillor Wimble.
For.
Councillor Wing.
For.
That's unanimous, Chair.
Thank you very much. That is unanimously approved. We now move on to item number 10. Annual Audit and Governance Report. Standard report, usual rules of debate, including moving, seconding and voting apply. I, as the chairman of this committee, are proposing, and I believe I have a seconder.
Yes, Chairman, I'd like to second.
Thank you very much. Anybody wishing to speak on this? I can't see.
You can go to the vote, Councillor Martin.
Right, we're moving to the vote then. Thank you.
Councillor Miss Berry.
For.
Councillor Brooke.
For.
Councillor Miss Carey.
You're muted, Councillor Muscari. Oh.
Yeah, sorry. For.
Councillor Collier.
For.
Councillor Davison.
For.
Councillor Field.
For.
Councillor Fuller.
For.
Councillor Gain.
For.
Councillor Goddard.
For.
Councillor Godfrey.
For.
Councillor Hills.
For.
Councillor Mrs. Hollingsby.
For.
Councillor King.
For.
Councillor Catenius.
For.
Councillor Jim Martin.
For.
Councillor Philip Martin.
For.
Councillor McConville.
For.
Councillor Mead.
For.
Councillor Ian Mayers.
For.
Councillor Monk.
For.
Councillor Mullard.
For.
Councillor Peel.
For.
Councillor Prater.
For.
Councillor Rolfe.
For.
Councillor Schube.
For.
Councillor Trelaw.
For.
Councillor Wade.
For.
Councillor Wybrow.
For.
Councillor Wimble.
For.
Councillor Wing.
For.
That's unanimous, Chairman.
Thank you, Gemma. That is unanimous. Thank you. That's approved. We now move on to item number 11, which is the annual report of the Overview and Scrutiny Committee. Again, it's a standard report. The usual rules of debate, including moving, seconding and voting, apply. Now, I understand this is proposed by councillor Schube, and you have a seconder?
Thank you. Yes, Chair, councillor Kitenius would like to second.
Thank you, that's fine. Anybody wishing to speak on this? In that case, we'll move to the vote. Thank you, Gemma.
Councillor Mrs Berry. Councillor Brooke.
For.
Councillor Miss Carey.
For.
Councillor Collier.
For.
Councillor Davison.
For.
Councillor Field.
For.
Councillor Fuller.
For.
Councillor Gay.
For.
Councillor Goddard.
For.
Councillor Godfrey.
For.
Councillor Hills.
For.
Councillor Mrs Hollingsby.
For.
Councillor Keane.
For.
Councillor Kitenius.
For.
Councillor Jim Martin.
For.
Councillor Philip Martin.
For.
Councillor McConville.
For.
Councillor Mead.
For.
Councillor Mayers.
For.
Councillor Monk.
For.
Councillor Mullard.
For.
Councillor Peel.
For.
Councillor Prater.
For.
Councillor Rolfe.
For.
Councillor Schube.
For.
Councillor Trelaw.
For.
Councillor Wade.
For.
Councillor Wybrow.
For.
Councillor Wimble.
For.
Councillor Wing.
For.
That's unanimous.
That's unanimous. Thank you very much, councillors. I'd just like to apologise for not being able to see you all on screen. The trouble is, with the Zooming that we've been doing for the last year, I've got quite used to having a small screen in front of me. And of course, I brought the wrong glasses, so I hope you'll forgive me. But thank you all very much for your participation.
Item 12, councillor.
Item 12, Chairman.
Oh, I do apologise. See, again, I got the wrong glasses. Right, item 12, annual scrutiny programme. Standard report, usual rules of debate, including moving, seconding and voting, apply. And I understand that this is being proposed by councillor Schube and I believe seconded by councillor Kitenius. Is that correct?
That's correct. Thank you, Chair. Thank you.
Anybody wishing to speak on this? In that case, we'll move straight to the vote. Thank you.
Councillor Mrs Berry.
For.
Councillor Brooke.
For.
Councillor Miss Carey.
For.
Councillor Collier.
For.
Councillor Davison.
For.
Councillor Field.
For.
Councillor Fuller.
For.
Councillor Gay.
For.
Councillor Goddard.
For.
Councillor Godfrey.
For.
Councillor Hills.
For.
Councillor Mrs Hollingsby.
For.
Councillor Keane.
For.
Councillor Kitenius.
For.
Councillor Jim Martin.
For.
Councillor Philip Martin.
For.
Councillor McConville.
For.
Councillor Mead.
For.
Councillor Mayers.
For.
Councillor Monk.
For.
Councillor Mullard.
For.
Councillor Peel.
For.
Councillor Prater.
Abstain.
Councillor Rolfe.
For.
Councillor Schube.
For.
Councillor Trelaw.
For.
Councillor Wade.
For.
Councillor Wybrow.
For.
Councillor Wimble.
For.
Councillor Wing.
For.
29 for and 1 abstention, Chair.
Thank you, Gemma. That is approved. I believe we have now formally come to the end of the meeting. I promise I'll get it right next time. Thank you all very much indeed for your contribution and look forward to seeing you soon.